So this is the foam from the walls that you have in the studio, and this is the isolation pad. Alright, now while this is very sturdy, if I were to use this as my isolation pad, immediately you see that this is not high density, it wobbles like crazy. So today we're going to talk about the sound isolation pad that we have here in the studio. Now first of all, thank you Sound Addicted for sending us one of this one here to use for our speakers here in the studio. Now this is meant for speakers that are 5-inch in size, but they also work for speakers at the back which is 6-inch in size, which are a little bit bigger. Now before I go into opening this up, I want to talk a bit about why we need this in the first place. So here I have a speaker, right? And the case with most project recording studios, big recording studios, is they have their speakers custom built and also isolated up in the air, where it is hung through cables, so that isolates the vibrations coming from the speaker cabinet. Right now, for us as home studio owners and also smaller recording studios, we normally have the speaker on top of the table itself or on the desk itself. It could be here, it could be there, right? But what happens is, while most high quality speakers have a good case enclosure that eliminates the vibrations coming from the speakers, budget studio monitors normally comes with not so solid enclosure. I mean, they are solid, but you still have that kind of vibration that comes through the speaker, especially on the bass or lower frequencies, into the desk itself. And you can actually feel the vibrations on the desk itself if you were to play something very bassy, and also when you're doing mixing and mastering on the speakers, the vibration goes into the desk, and that actually clouds the sound reproduction that comes from the speaker itself. And that's why we have isolation pads to actually put underneath the speakers. So these are the SMPad 5, which works for the 5-inch speakers. Now let me just put this down here. So first of all, this is a very high density foam. I mean, when it first came to me, I thought it looked very simple, just like a foam. But again, it's very, very high density and can withstand up to 22 pounds, which is about more or less 10 kg. Alright, so even with one speaker on it, the foam does not change, and even with two speakers on it, you can see it holds its shape very well because it's high density. Alright, now let's get up to opening up the package here. So the SMPad 5 comes in a very simple looking plastic enclosure. Now again, it's very simple, but it does what it does, right? So I wouldn't matter too much about how it looks in the packaging, although some of you might if you are into a the customer experience sort of thing. But again, they look just like foam, and there you go. That's a coupon, so I'm not going to use that. So very simple. I'm looking at it right now, my first perspective on it, and you can see there are the two main components of the foam itself, alright, with that cut down. Okay, so we have two of this. Alright, now again, please do not throw these two other components away, because what they do, or what they are meant to do, is actually to alter the the angle of speakers that you want to put in. So we can have a higher angle, can have a lower angle. But if you were to ask my recommendations, I don't think any speaker should be angled at all. They should actually be straight, just like that. So I will leave that thing on here and put a speaker on up here. Alright, so let's go and quickly do that right now. So what happens here is I'm going to put this here, right? And I'm just going to put this. Alright, I'm just going to put it like that. And we want it to be actually straight. Right? Now some of you will want to actually have that angle down, but I wouldn't recommend that. Alright, no speaker should be angled again, in my opinion. And it should go up straight like this. And it should go up straight like this. Okay, so you can see it works very well. Just like that. Alright, there are no branding of thing, it's just black in nature. It looks very nice on the speakers. So one more thing that it actually helps us do is that when you're monitoring on your desk, you want your ear level to be at the same of the tweeters. Although this is not the ideal positioning here, it has to be a little bit higher with speaker stands or something like that. But it actually helps elevate the speakers up to nearer to my ear position, and that is actually very helpful. So we put the isolation pads to the test, and again, full disclaimer, I am not a sound acoustic pro, and I've not done any technical measurements on the speaker analysis here, right? On the sound analysis here. But again, using ears alone, you can tell there's actually a difference in the the low frequency rumbles that actually goes through the table. And when you do A/B testing with the isolation pad and without the isolation pad, you actually hear some difference if you have good ears. I'm not saying that my ears are good, but I do hear the difference, alright? Okay, so who should buy the isolation pad, and do you really need it, right? Now, first of all, if you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars on isolation pads, those fancy ones out there, I would actually recommend you not to buy them, because honestly, they do not do a very huge difference on the sound. They only help a little bit by isolating and clearing up on the low frequencies, right? But and it should help for budget speakers, and if you are having a budget. But again, the SMPad 5 only costs $15.95, and at that price, I don't see why not, to actually help your sound by a little. But if you're going to spend $100 on isolation pads, then I would recommend you not to buy it. Alright, so what do you think about the isolation pads and the SM5 by Sound Addicted that I have here? Let me know in the video below, and see you then. Thanks.